Hi, this is Jeff Burbrink with the Purdue Extension Office in Elkhart County. And I wanted to show you a problem here with a white pine tree. The pine tree began to show some symptoms this fall. I didn't get around to fixing it, but now it's at the point where I just went ahead and removed the tree. It was the end of a windbreak, and the tree is pretty much going to be the way it is, so I decided I'd just go ahead and remove it. I have taken the tree down already so I can make it a little easier to show you the damage that is occurring on this tree. One of the characteristics of white pine weevil is that you often get a shoot that begins to shepherd's crook or bend. It's usually the main shaft on the tree, and as you see, it is bent fairly far over. Top of the tree is turning yellow because it's getting deprived of nutrients, and up near where the tip of the branches were, you can see it's got a whole bunch of new branches shooting out of that particular spot. That's because when the weevil did its damage, it encouraged the tree to send out a bunch more shoots, and all that black stuff that's there around the base of those new shoots is sap in a combination of the poo from the white pine weevil boring into the tree. There are several different species of trees in Elkhart County that can get white pine weevil, including blue spruce, Norway spruce, white pine, and just about all the other pines get it too. The one thing I've noticed about white pine weevil is it tends to find trees that are a little bit weak to begin with. This particular tree was on the end of my windbreak, and it never really thrived that well. It's a little bit of a wet area compared to the rest of the windbreak. It was about 10 feet tall, where its siblings were in the 20-foot range. So it had always been a little stunted and never quite living up to expectations in that particular spot. So the weevil somehow can sense that, and they tend to attack trees that are like that in that area. As far as looking out for treatments for white pine weevil, the typical time of the year to treat would be sometime in latter part of March, first part of April in our area. The insecticide that's typically used is called permethrin, and you want a version of permethrin that is labeled for use on trees. Spray the trunk of the tree and the upper parts of the tree because that's where it tends to attack. And if you can get it done early in March, then treat it again in April is fine. Hopefully that'll put a protective barrier on the tree to keep that tree from developing symptoms. There are some insecticides you can put around the base of the tree in a very similar fashion to the way we treat emerald ash borer. Imidacloprid is the product. You can put that around the base of the tree. The one thing I'd say about that particular treatment on pines is that the uptake of the insecticide may not be as good on the pine as it is on ash tree. And so because the pine tree gets so compromised so quickly from this, oftentimes it can't pick up enough of the insecticide to get to the white pine weevil. So usually it's a better course of action to try to treat the trunk versus trying to treat around the whole tree. Normally, if the tree is nice and healthy, it will outgrow that. You may end up with a situation where you have a double trunk or a triple trunk at the point where it gets infected. You may be able to prune out one or two of those and just create a new central leader if it's not compromised too bad. Sometimes if they're growing healthy, they can outgrow that. So that's something to think about too. This has been Jeff Burbrink with the Purdue Extension Office in Elkhart County, and talking about white pine weevil today. If you have any other ideas for subjects you'd like me to cover, please feel free to give me a call or an email at Purdue Extension in Elkhart County, Indiana.